Are you feeling a little famished, but are you balling on a budget? Well, head on down to BK and pick yourself up a Whopper. The B here stands for Bruse Kraum, the K stands for Kraum, Ludwig's Opus, and the Whopper stands for punching people in the face with a double strike flying lifelink haster. Hey guys, it is Shannon the Timmy from the Trinisphere, where Timmy, Johnny, and Spike battle over all things EDH, and I'm coming at you with a deck list for Jeskai Aggro, or Tempo. I'm not really sure what the difference is. This list is a budget under $100 partner list that I call Glory on a Budget. And you're going to find out why in a second. Let's talk about the commanders. Bruse Kraum, Ludwig's Opus. Bruse is a 4-mana 3/3 that gives your creatures double strike and lifelink when he attacks or enters the battlefield. Kraum is a 4/4 flying haster. This seems like a match made in heaven. They curve into each other. Bruse gives Kraum double strike. That's 8 commander damage at hasting speed. And this is a back-breaking combo that people have trouble dealing with. Also, Kraum has an ability that says when your opponent casts 2 or more spells a turn, you draw a card. And I have been astonished at how many people forget about that trigger and let me draw a lot off of my commander. So let's talk about the rest of this budget list. It's broken down into 7 categories. We have our beaters, things that we want to give double strike and lifelink. We have our attack buffers, things to efficiently improve the small cadre of creatures that we're going to keep alive. And for the first time in a long while, we have a protection category. And those are cards that are designed to keep a small cadre of efficient attackers alive as long as possible. We have removal, ramp, and draw, our veggies. And then to top off this budget meal, we have the spice. And this is a new category that I think I'm going to add to all of my lists. These are the cards that kind of drove me into playing this list. Let's start with the beaters. Cards that we want Bruse to buff. So we have a few cards in here that are evasive, and then also, when they're given double strike, net us additional card advantage. Those include Daring Saboteur, Daxos Emeritus, and Fata Adel the Acquisitor. If we want raw punching power, we're going to go with Glorybringer, Lightning Angel, Ruhan of the Fomori, and Territorial Hellkite. And those guys just output enormous amounts of damage for a reasonable mana cost. Additionally, if we want to keep our opponents on their heels, trying to dodge and duck and weave against our blow after blow we're going to be sending towards their face, we're going to run Thalia, Heretic Cathar, and Urbras the Hidden to keep their defenses down. To top it all off, we have Taigam Ojai Master, which is a huge synergistic component with all of our removal, protection, and draw spells in our deck. All right, let's move on to the attack buffs. Now, like I've said before many times already, and I'll say it many times again, this deck is all about keeping a small group of creatures alive instead of going wide or pushing it too far. All it is about establishing high-efficient, hard-to-block creatures and then keep them alive for as long as we can. So let's talk about ways to improve the effectiveness of the creatures on the battlefield. We have a few ways to give ourselves extra attack steps, including Aurelia the War Leader, Combat Celebrant, and Medomai the Ageless, the last of which, when given double strike, time stretches. That's kind of nuts. Can't attack on those extra turns, but that's a time stretch on a 4/4 flyer. Come on. Glorious Celebrant, also really good with double strike because he's now not chumpable. And of course, what's better than double strike? Double strike and 2 attack steps with Aurelia. We also run a couple of lieutenants in here, Bastion Protector and Blood Sworn Steward. Now, I really like running lieutenants when I run partners because it effectively, their effectiveness is doubled effectively. Our +2/+2 is granted to both of our commanders, and our indestructibility granted to both, and our haste granted to both. Not so relevant for Kraum, but let me tell you, really relevant for Bruse Kraum. If you give Bruse Kraum haste, that means he enters the battlefield triggering once, then he immediately goes to attack triggering again, effectively double striking and lifelinking possibly your team, or maybe just Bloodsworn Steward, which is a 4/4 flyer. So these different angles of attack mean that your opponents are afraid of what's in your command zone half of the game. Now that is a lot of fun. All right, let's talk about some of the other things that pump. We have a few cards that just generally improve our power and toughness, including Jeskai Ascendancy, Orzhov Advocates, Soulblade Jin, and Sunforger. To top it all off, we have a few cards that make it especially hard to block us, including Aroas God of Victory and Open into Wonder. Let's move on to the protection package. Now, I don't usually run protection packages, but this time I'm making an exception because this deck is a bit of a unique design when it comes to EDH. We need efficient and effective counterspells in here. We run Arcane Denial, Izzet Charm, Rewind, and Unwind. And we run the latter two because we have a lot of instant speed draw to back up our protection spells and removal spells. Additionally, for attacking through a board of indiscriminate size, we run Bruse Kraum, Frontline Medic, and Loyal Unicorn. That is Lieutenant number 3. I like my lieutenants. All right, that wraps up the meat. Now let's go on to the veggies, which for a Whopper, I guess, is lettuce. All right, for removal, we have Chaos Warp, Mystic Confluence, Reality Shift, Return to Dust, Swords to Plowshares, and Wear and Tear. Now that is a sweet package, capable of dealing with almost any threat our opponents can put towards us. That's going to allow us to disrupt combo. It's going to allow us to remove creatures bigger than our own, and just generally be a menace when we keep our mana open. We also have the original Red Choopy Boy Flame Tongue Kavu, and then we have the Oh Shit Reset button at instant speed Route. Onto the ramp package, you'll be surprised at how many ramp spells are in a deck that curves out at 4, but we need to be able to cast a creature and back it up with removal and or protection in the exact same turn. So we're going to run all 3 signets, Azorius, Boros, and Izzet. We're going to run Mind Stone and Soul Ring. We're going to run Commander Sphere and Darksteel Ingot. We're also going to top it off with the Mono Brown Rampant Growth, Wayfarer's Bauble. Now a lot of this stuff is to help smooth out a tenuous mana base. Moving on to the draw package, we have a lot of instant speed draw, like I said before. So if we don't need to use protection spells to protect our guys, we don't need to counter our opponents who are winning the game, or we don't need to remove threats or blockers from our attackers, we have Chemist's Insight, Factor Fiction, Pull from Tomorrow, Steam Augury, and Supreme Will to instant speed draw some cards. We also run the hyper-efficient sorcery speed Treasure Cruise, Ponder, and also the budget-ristic study that is Mystic Remora. That card's awesome. Don't sleep on it. We also run Lieutenant number 4, Loyal Drake. This one might be a little sketch. People will be like, I don't think I like that card. But I've been surprised at its performance. It draws a lot of cards, and when you have twice as many commanders as normal, it's very easy to get this guy to trigger. We also run the more aggressive, but slightly less effective Archaeomancer that is Bloodwater Entity. Now he may put the Instant Sorcery on top of your deck instead of your hand, but it's a 2/2 flying prowess, and I'll take that. Now that wraps up the weird toppings on our Whopper. Let's talk about the spice. The spice. It must flow. The reasons why we built this deck, the things that drove me towards this, and it's called Glory on a Budget, is for Chance for Glory, Final Fortune, and Glorious End. You may be thinking, holy shit, these cards are not playable in EDH, but let me tell you, there have been many games where somebody looks across, they're sitting at high 30 life total, they're counting up the possible damage output from my list. They're saying, that's 12, that's 16, I'll be fine, I'll tap out, and they never untap again. And that is due to the helpful addition of Angel's Grace, probably the most expensive card in this list. Angel's Grace allows us to effectively chain these extra turn effects together in a row. Now that may be hard to pull off because you have to draw 2 of them, which is why we run Firemind's Foresight, which is an instant speed ability to just fetch all 3 at the same time. Angel's Grace, Final Fortune, and Chance for Glory. At instant speed, at the end of somebody's turn, we can go fetch these 3 cards. You can see the color drain from their face. You can see their smile turn to a frown when at the end of their turn, you fetch a freaking Time Warp when you're already hitting them for 18, unblockable. So this is the spice. And it flows. It flows a lot, baby. It flows well. It flows good. All right, last but not least, this is a budget list, so I want to talk about the mana base. And this mana base is one of the toughest I've had to build because this deck list is almost evenly spread across the 3 colors. Usually you want to have like 2 colors and a splash, but this one is evenly spread. It's not great. It's not ideal, but we're making it work. We're going to run all 3 bounce lands. Azorius Chancery, Boros Garrison, and Izzet Boilerworks. Now we run those 3 because we want to consistently hit our land drops, and these help hit our land drops. Think about it. Also, they synergize with our Rewind and Unwind, those become mana positive spells. And if people are literally blowing up these bounce lands, they're kind of dicks, and they're not probably threat assessing. That's probably a waste of a strip mine, unless they have like strip mine reanimation. In addition, we have the spell lands Desolate Lighthouse, Opal Palace, Rogue's Passage, and Slayer's Stronghold. When it comes to actual rare lands in this list, we really only run a handful, and that's Battlefield Forge, Shivan Reef, Port Town, and Irrigated Farmland. Also, we run Exotic Orchard, Command Tower. We also run Wandering Fumarole, if you believe that. If you want to give that thing double strike and kill somebody, let me know, because I've been wanting to do it for quite a while. And the rest of the list kind of fills itself out. It's almost an even spread of islands, mountains, and plains, and then Guildgate style come into play tapped lands. But I would say that if you like this list, this is one of the first areas you need to start investing your money in when you start improving it, because the mana base is sketch. You can afford to put in a City of Brass and a Mana Confluence in this list, because this list gains so much life. So much life. You have nothing to use that life on, so might as well run Pain lands, right? All right, so I've played this list a couple of times, and to let you know how it performs better than I expected. People forget that Kraum draws you a card. People are terrified of what's in your command zone when you're playing this deck. They're almost more afraid of Kraum being in your command zone than him being on play, because they can't deal with him at the speed that they want to deal with him. They have to wait until you're attacking effectively. The fact that they're staggered in their casting costs makes this list almost never miss a beat. For example, on turn 4, you cast Bruse. If they blow up Bruse, on turn 5, you cast Kraum. If they blow up Kraum, on turn 6, you cast Bruse. You can almost never miss. As long as you hit your land drops and you're ramping appropriately, you will always have access to a commander at any point in time. And this is a back-breaking environment for your opponents to play in. I've had opponents afraid to death of Kraum in my command zone. And think about what I'm saying here. This is against non-budget lists. Anyways, guys, that wraps it up for my Bruse BK Whopper, or Glory on a budget. I'm going to call it the Glorious Whopper. That's what it's going to be called. If you are interested in seeing this list in action, be sure to like and subscribe, because the gameplay with this list is going to be coming out next week. And if you want to see some of the other players' lists in their deck techs, they'll be being posted on YouTube as well. All right, guys, that wraps it up. As always, it's not about winning. It's about sending a message. Peace.